Hi, good afternoon. I'm Titian Ahmad from 3 Degrees Asia, providing content coverage for Digital Bootcamp. And we have now with us Zennon Kapron from Kapronasia. And he just did a fantastic presentation on fintech in China. So Zennon, if you were to summarize your presentation in one sentence, what would be the key takeaway from what you presented earlier?
I think when you look at fintech globally, often China gets overlooked as not being a big part of the story, but it's actually quite the reverse. What's happening in China in terms of fintech is done on a scale that we haven't seen anywhere else in the world. And I think the excitement around that is really what I'm trying to bring today, and to make people aware of what these tech companies are doing to really change the way that people bank in China.
I think your perspective on tech companies going into banking is actually quite interesting. And if you think about it, that's really what's happening in China.
Exactly. I mean, you look at other markets and you look at small fintech and a lot of the smaller companies that are coming into the market. The banks are very closely looking at them and kind of backing into financial technology to a certain extent, whereas the tech companies in China, that's their bread and butter, is technology, right? So they're coming straight at it.
Are there plans for them to go outside of China into the region?
Well, that's the big question. I mean, if you look at what they're doing right now, they really have their work cut out for them in China because there's so much market there to be tapped. And with the organizations setting up their private banks in China, with both Alibaba through their Ant Financial subsidiary and Tencent setting up their private banks, probably for the next year and a half or so, we'll see most of them focus on that and domestic activities. But I think the real opportunity for them is taking that model, once they've proven it in China, taking it to other markets.
But do you think the other regulators from other markets will look at what the Chinese regulators are doing and say, hey, why don't we do that too?
Certainly, but I think what the Chinese regulators are able to do is right now they've found a comfortable balance. They're allowing the innovation, but at the same time they're protecting the development of the industry. So China's financial industry, banking, payments, capital markets, is still very young. And so that age means that there's a lot of risk that's involved and there's some structural issues that need to be solved. So the regulators are looking at how they can use that to solve it. But what the tech companies are doing are trying to solve those issues, but as well really get engaged with the customer in a different way. And I think that regardless of what the regulators do in other markets, that approach to customer centricity is really quite interesting. And as they expand abroad, I think that's really what the banks and other markets have to worry about, is how they engage with the customers.
Okay, brilliant. Well, last question. What do you think about the event today?
I think it's great. I mean, bringing together, you see a lot of people here in suits, but you see a lot of people that are casual as well, which is really the true meeting of minds. A lot of the bankers that have been involved in the industry for years that are trying to find out more about what's happening here, and a lot of the startups that are trying to kind of share their experience. And so it's great that Oracle has been able to bring this all together in the Digital Bootcamp here in Singapore.
Okay, thanks for your time, Zennon. Thank you. Thank you.